Alex Magaña has had quite a year. After taking a bit of a break from making multiple web series, through his production company, ACM Official, he has released 3 movies just this year. Alex, thank you for taking time to talk to us.
Oh, you're welcome.
So, would you mind if we just jumped right in?
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump in.
Alright, what inspired you to get into making videos, especially learning how to work behind the camera instead of just being in front of it?
Um, well, I think the first thing to start little short skits was that show, Jackass on MTV. I think like me and a few of my friends we used to, watch that show, and then we go out and try to do some of the same stunts and then record it. Back when I was, like a teenager, and then going into high school, one of the schools I went to, they had a graphics class, and we learned how to do editing and like animation, and I started getting into that a lot. And so from there, I kind of knew I wanted to do something with like editing, and yeah, just kind of like from there, took more video editing classes, and then went to college for it, and came down to LA.
And do you believe you really need a formal education in order to have a proper foundation to do all this?
I mean, I think you can do it either way. I mean, it's kind of like back in the day, people used to do, used to apprentice for masters and stuff. So you can get the same kind of training if you get on good sets and just kind of watch people and learn and just ask questions. So, I mean, I learned, some stuff in film school, but I definitely learned a lot more like once I moved down to LA and started getting on film sets and, just kind of helping out and like learning from people and seeing other people's techniques. So, I mean, you definitely learn both. And then, I mean, you can also learn from books. Nowadays, you can pretty much find anything online. So if you want to learn it, you can find there's a lot of resources aside from going to college.
And it's always that thing between theory and practicum. Like you mentioned, you did internships and stuff like that, but how was it going from being in school, being working for somebody else to it being your own thing, learning how to get permits, how to do casting, how to control a set, and things like that?
Um, so I guess the main thing is like when you work for someone, you kind of like once you get that job, you're just looking for the job, and then you're like you're done. You're just kind of like come in and do your thing. And then like when you're working for yourself, you're also like constantly like a business person. So you're like promoting your work. So it's like every day you're not just doing your job editing or directing that day, whatever. You got to go home and then you got to hustle some more and like, look for the next job because most of the jobs you do are just like a 1 day gig or maybe like a weekend. So it's like the main difference, I think, working for yourself versus someone else is just that hustle. I mean, everything else you just kind of, I guess, learn and ask questions and just, um, yeah. So you kind of, I guess, pick it up. I mean, for me, I started when I came down to LA. I was looking for, like a work as a studio, and then I just kind of took like any small gig. Plus, in film school, I did some music videos, so I was promoting those on the side. So I started getting music video work. So kind of took off from there. And then when I did finally get a regular job editing, I worked did that for like a few months, and then I just was getting so much more work just doing freelance on my own. So I just quit and stuck to the freelance.
So right out of college, basically everything that you went to college that you did in high school, you went straight into a career path. You didn't have like a unassociated day job, anything like that.
No, just yeah, looked straight for film stuff. I mean, I applied a lot, so it's you got to really be on it. You can't just wait for something to fall in your lap. But like every day, I was like hunting for jobs and like taking whatever I could get and just like networking.
Now, taking note of all the experience you did from freelancing, interning, and also education, that has built you a 15-year career at this point, right?
Yeah.
Looking over your career, especially over your Vimeo page, I noticed you went from doing mostly music videos, then you transitioned into doing web series, and now you're on your fourth movie right now. So, would you consider from music videos and shorts to now doing movies a natural progression, or would that just be you showing your varied interest?
It was definitely a progression. Um, kind of, music videos, are the most forgiving as far as like if you're trying to do narratives, because it's more abstract. If you don't get all the shots you need, you can kind of just add in other takes and work around it. Um, and then web series, that was like the next step on. Man, sorry, there's just a lot of noise where I'm at right now.
It's okay.
Um, so yeah, the web series, it's not like a feature. It's shorter episodes, like quick. I mean, most of the stuff we were making was like 8-minute episodes. So it's definitely like the next step because you got to write the scripts, and then like you got to worry about sound. With the music videos, you're just you already got the music recorded, and then movies, that's like a whole nother giant step to go up from web series to movies. So it's kind of like, I mean, the movies has always been the goal in the end, was doing movies, but definitely, yeah, progression, just the music videos to the web series and then the movies.
And what made you decide after the end of, I'm assuming, Slap's first season, that you wanted to do a feature length film? That you were at the point where you could actually, between financing, learning how to control a set, casting, and all that, you're finally ready to do so?
Well, with Slapped, we actually did, well, I did 2 more web series after Slapped. So with Slapped, um, well, at the time, 2 web series were like new, and there were people getting picked up from doing web series into doing shows. So we were hoping that would happen. And we got like a pretty good buzz with the web series. And so, I went on to make the next web series and then the third one. And I felt like at the end of the third one, like the quality and everything was like where it needed to be. And so, and then plus the web series, weren't really getting the attention that I was hoping they would. And so the next step was like, to me, was a feature. And so that's why we went and did the feature.
And why did you do 29 to Life before Slap the Movie? Or is it, or were they all done at the same time? It's just the way the chronological in IMDb is out of order.
Yeah, I mean, Slapped was first. So what happened was we started filming Slapped and we filmed it up in Washington State because that's where the co-star Matt Lowe is living right now. So we went up there to shoot so we could take advantage of like his resources and like the people he knew and just shoot it up there. And then because of the weather and everything, because it's really like once it gets to the winter up there, it's just like raining every day. So we took a break for the winter, and then I actually went and did Narco Valley. So we shot most of Narco Valley. Like I shot that like in November, December time, and then we just kind of took a break from Slapped all the way up until like the summer the next year. So I shot 29 to Life in the spring, and then kind of finished up Narco Valley. So it's kind of like Slap. We started first, and then we finished last. So we shot all the last scenes. So I think if you watch it, you might be able to tell. But I think like when we wrapped it up, we added in a lot of stuff to kind of just strengthen the whole story, just like from learning from the other 2 features. So I think it definitely like made the movie stronger by doing it that way. But yeah, that's the reason why. It's just like taking that break for the winter.
And taking note that most of these are self-financed, and that for most of them, you're the writer, director, producer, editor, and I'm probably missing a few other jobs you're doing. How do you decide where the line is between what would be cool to do and what you don't have the budget for? And also taking into consideration how much of a ton you would want to make so you can work on to the next thing.
I mean, right now it's a lot of it's just like budget. So we're kind of stuck with me doing like a lot of the roles, and then like on Slap the Movie, Matt was doing a lot of the roles too. So it's just kind of like the tight budget, so we don't have the money to hire people to do all the roles, and then plus, I know how to do everything, and then Matt's able to do certain roles behind the camera and help, like with directing and like casting and stuff like that and producing. So we're kind of like to do all that ourselves for now. I mean, eventually it'd be nice to get, obviously if we're acting in it, to not have to do the, camera work stuff too, and like kind of set up the shots and just kind of focus on the acting and get like, another director on set to just kind of like direct the scenes if, I'm in them or stuff like that. And then also editing, eventually just want like someone to do the editing and sound mixing. But right now it's just.
Would you say then? Because I've seen, I think is there was a roommates web series you did, and there's another one that dealt with a work wife or something like that, which she wasn't physically acting in. So, what exactly made Slap something that you decided to get back in the camera for after your music video career? Was that, like you just said, just a budget thing, necessity, or did you want it to actually be in front of the camera once more?
So I mean, with the first web series Slap, the reason I'm in it in that one is because just like at the time, because I hadn't directed anything with like acting, so it's tough to get actors on board to they just seem like I've done music videos and whatnot. And then just with my availability and where we were filming, it was easier if I just acted in it. So we kind of just, me and Matt, we knew we had like, we're available whenever we need to film. So that's why we like both acted in that. And then, obviously it's pretty hard to act and then do the camera work and all that. So, with the other stuff, I just did the directing and behind the scenes stuff. And then also I didn't think like, obviously haven't done any acting training or done anything. So, that way I could get better talented actors and play the role. And then with Slap, when we did the movie, we just kind of decided since we had like a big buzz, like when we came out with the web series, to just keep it like me and him. And so that's kind of where the reason why I acted in that one again.
Is that also why, for when it came to the movie, a lot of the roles were kind of replaced?
Um, yeah, well, because we shot it in Washington and we filmed the web series in LA, so it was like a small budget thing. I mean, we honestly thought we'd film. I mean, I thought going into Slap the movie, we'd make it pretty quick, but it took a lot longer to film it. And then, yeah, just being up in Washington with that tight budget. So we just kind of pretty much had to recast everything with the actors up there.
And do you feel like that changed the vibe of the original, or you thought it actually improved since now you were separated for a couple of years? Now that you got a better vibe of what worked, what didn't, and also what actors needed to do better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like the original cast. Like, I think we had like several actors I liked a lot. It was just kind of more. I mean, I think on the storytelling side and like pulling off like certain jokes, we were a lot better now on the new one. And a lot of the things because pretty much from the web series to the movie, some of it is the same, but then we like added a lot of new scenes and like kind of tweaked the old scenes and made them work better and just kind of like amped the whole thing up. So that I don't know. It's just I guess it's tough because there were some actors I like better from the web series and some I like better from the movie. But I mean, I think overall came out pretty good. I'm happy with it for what we had, what we worked with.
And your co-star Matt Lowe is also someone who co-wrote the production with you, right?
Yeah.
So would you say, especially considering for a lot of your productions, usually you're the only one listed as the writer, was it easier and less pressure to write with someone, or does the need for compromise make it more difficult?
I think it really just depends on the writer because I've tried to collaborate with other writers. Me and Matt like have a pretty similar like comedic taste. I mean, he's more like on the like sex, like raunchy humor, and I'm more like I guess on slapstick comedy type stuff. But overall, we like find the same stuff funny, so we don't really argue on anything, I guess. And then because the characters, I guess, are loosely based, like on our perspective of each person, I think we just kind of gave more free reign. So when I was writing, so like the dialogue for Matt, I wouldn't really change much, and he wouldn't really change much for like my stuff or like certain things. I guess we just kind of like trusted each other on this because we've known each other for so long. But like when I've worked with other filmmakers, or I mean other writers, excuse me, yeah, it can slow down the process a lot. Like, because I've worked with other people, like hoping it would go quick, and then like someone to collaborate and throw ideas back and forth with. But if it's someone that you don't have like the same opinion or thinks like find the same jokes funny, it really slows things down because you're like going back and forth, and you just kind of like end up at like a stalemate. So yeah, or you end up like sometimes too. I've worked with writers, and I'll give them notes, and then it just by the end it just felt like I ended up writing the whole thing. So it's really, I guess it is nice if you can find the right person that has like the same taste as you. You got to find like someone that's really, you know, you guys have the same vision, which is tough.
And before we mentioned Narco Valley. Now, when I looked over all your work, and of course I've seen two of them, Narco Valley seems kind of like an outlier. Based off the trailer, seems very similar to the vibe most of your music videos have. So I was kind of wondering, why did you shift gears to make a film like Narco Valley, considering most of your career, well, at least since leaving music videos, has been based in comedy?
Um, yeah, so Narco Valley was, like a collaboration with the musicians I did it with, and that's like the style they go with, as you can, like you mentioned in the music videos. So that's why with that. So I mean, most of the stuff I do just for fun is like comedy or some kind of comedic element. Um, but yeah, I mean, the drama to me, it's not. I find it actually easier to do like drama stuff because comedy, like a lot of it's timing and the drama. It's just, I guess it's part of the same. I guess a lot of the comedy too has drama in it, so it's not hard to like switch from comedy to drama for me. But I just, like I said, I get like most of the gigs that get booked, like the music videos are more that dramatic or like that gangster type movie. So that's pretty much the reason.
So would you say Narco Valley's not something you're going to probably revisit, doing something of the same tone again and just stick to comedy, or will we see more like Narco Valley, maybe less crime, or dealing with a different subject matter in the future?
I mean, I'll probably do a good range of stuff. I mean, I have like several concepts for future stories, and most of them, yeah, do have like comedy. Um, so most likely it'll be comedy unless it's like um, a collaboration again, or just like I guess I mean, I could see myself doing another one. I think they are fun. I think Narco Valley. There's a lot of room to grow on like a future movie, like a future crime drama. So I could see myself doing it, and I think it could be like a fun movie to make. So I guess with the comedy too, I just like it because it's like more fun, like behind the scenes. So you're just having fun on set, like kind of goofing around. Whereas the drama, you got to be like serious, and it's a whole different mood on set.
And you mentioned future productions a few minutes ago. With your next production being Mr. Poppycock, what can you tell us about the film, which is still in pre-production, but I'm sure you have ideas already being fleshed out?
Um, so yeah, that one's pretty early on. Still working on casting and everything. Um, but that one's just pretty much like a guy in his 30s, just kind of like this loser type character that's miserable and lonely, single guy, um, like low self confidence, everything. And then he has an imaginary friend that kind of, helps him get over everything. So it's kind of like that bromance type comedy, I guess, with like an imaginary friend, though.
And considering with your casting with 29 to Life, you worked with actors you worked with before. With Slapped, you worked with Matt Lowe, who you worked with before. Are there any people you're trying to get on board when it comes to this movie?
Um, Possibly Matt. It just kind of depends because he's up in Washington State right now. So if he's down at the time, down here in Los Angeles. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty much open. Still, locking in people.
Okay. And a few last questions before the final five. Considering both Slapped and 29 to Life are free to watch if you have Amazon Prime, would you consider that your platform of choice for your movies?
In the future, it's just gonna, I think, really depend on like the distribution deals because yeah, pretty much just going through like distribution companies, seeing where they're at. But a lot of them are using Amazon. It is definitely getting to be a pretty big base for like indies, stuff like that.
And would you say when it comes to Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, etc., is it easy to submit your work and get a good return? Especially if you're accepted as part of a package service like Prime where they see it for free instead of paying for it outright?
I mean, there's a lot of content on there, so it's more about you promoting the film and getting it out there. So it's got to be just getting it up there. It's not going to be all of a sudden you get like everybody watching it. It's like when you upload something to YouTube, unless you have a fan base or unless you're promoting it, it's just going to sit there. And so it really just comes down to you marketing.
And for you, what is the best marketing technique? Like, I know for me getting to know you, it's through an email, but is that the main way you get your name out there? Do you buy ad space, or what is your go-tos?
Well, I get a lot of work just from like word of mouth, like from music. When it comes to music videos, because I've done a lot and I've worked with like some pretty big underground musicians. So there, I do have the videos out there with like the tens of millions of views. So that helps. And then I guess just kind of like networking and emailing people, getting like the people involved in it to share it and get their friends and families to watch it, share it. It's kind of where it's at right now.
Okay. And now, final five questions. First one being, who or what inspires you to continue?
I think just the love for the craft. So it's like pretty much whenever I have any free time, I'm always like coming up with concepts for films or working on films. So it just kind of keeps you going when that's like what you do for fun anyway. So yeah.
Second question, do you feel like in your field you have started to gain ground and get comfortable?
Um, well, I guess you never really get fully comfortable in film, and you shouldn't. I think if you want to grow, because there's always new techniques coming out and like better equipment that you always have to keep learning. And there's always like the young generation, the new people coming out every year that are fresh out of high school or fresh out of college. I want to do the same thing as you, so you always have to keep learning. But definitely more comfortable, after having a few features out, because it's a pretty big task to get that done. So once you can get that done, it just kind of builds your confidence. Like once you make a music video or a short film and it like comes out good and people respond to it well, then you can make that. Because like when you first start out, it's like it's tough to even get people to watch anything you make, without falling asleep. So the fact that you can get people to like actually watch your stuff just kind of builds your confidence, and you start learning. Because regardless of the technology, the narrative, it's always going to be like the fundamentals of storytelling remain the same. But you just got to like learn to tell stories quicker and establish stuff quicker as attention spans change.
And what is one thing, if someone wanted to follow your path, you tell them they must do and what they should avoid?
So I think the number one thing people should avoid is I know I talk to a lot of filmmakers out here, like ones that want to be directors or ones that want to be producers or whatever, and then you'll get stuck in like a role that you never really wanted. So you'll end up being like some kind of crew role or something where you're just doing crew work for like 5 years or whatever, and then eventually you just kind of forget what you even wanted to do. So I think the main thing is like knowing what you want to do and then going after and staying focused on that and not just getting distracted. And it's easy to do in LA because it's so expensive with rent and everything that once you're comfortable paying bills, you're just like, all right, whatever, I'm comfortable. And then I think one thing to do is I guess just go for it. If you want to do whatever you want to do, just do it. Like to make if you want to make a short film, a music video, a web series, like a movie, just do it. Because there's a lot of people that are going to say, no, there's like all these steps and it's really hard. And it is really hard, but you can still do it if you really want to. There's ways to like figure things out. I mean, it really comes down to like, how creative you are and, how resourceful you are.
And just to follow up on that, when it comes to affording to do all this, I was just wondering, what was the main ways you did in order to buy equipment, how to pay for, I guess, cast in case it's a situation where it's not voluntary? How did you handle that?
Yeah, with equipment, a lot of it's just like saving, like doing the music videos and then saving money and like slowly upgrading equipment and gear. Or like, yeah, that's pretty much it. And then, like selling the old gear, obviously, and just kind of trading up slowly. Or I mean, there's also like filmmakers I know that take out like loans and stuff to get gear. You know, you could do a project, try to get an advance on it, and then use that for gear. Trying to think, what was the second part of that question? Sorry.
And then when it comes to hiring people, do you mostly look for volunteers? And if you can't get those, how do you afford to pay for people with expertise?
So most of the time we've gotten volunteers. There's like certain roles, you know, when we have to pay someone, but it'll just be, you know, we try to get them in and out like quick, like a day shoot or something. So that way it's like a small part of the budget. And then, you know, like as you get going, the more, you know, the more work I do and the better it gets, the more people you can get that will want to, you know, collaborate with you because you're serious. And then, you know, just giving people, you know, like copies and stuff. So, because it's kind of like, I mean, even for me, when I started out, you know, I did the music videos for free just to get my name out, you know, work with the artists that have like a strong following and they share it and they promote it and then you get called later. So there's also, you know, like the actors that need stuff for their demo reel so people can see how they look in film and see how they act. So it's a lot of collaboration, you know, to try to land those big gigs for everyone. So kind of how it works out here.
And taking all that in, as of where you are now, where do you see room for growth?
I think just, you know, obviously making stronger feature films that people, you know, watch and they want to share and promote. So it just kind of like grows word of mouth quicker. So I think just, you know, like becoming a better storyteller and better director on the features and just kind of growing and learning and getting the bigger budgets so we can make crazier effects and do like bigger scenes that we wanted to do.
And lastly, in the long run, what do you want to be your legacy?
I'd say getting to that point where I make the films that just kind of stand the test of time, which is pretty hard nowadays when they're remaking everything, but you know, making those films that people remember and they, you know, it's kind of those ones you can like, oh yeah, I remember that film, or you rewatch it, you know, every year or whatever. Getting to that point.
Admirable goal. And that's all the questions that I have for you, Alex.
All right.
Once again, I thank you for taking time out of your day. I know with all these projects in your head, taking time to talk to somebody about the past is maybe a little bit jarring. But again, I thank you for taking the time out.
Oh, you're welcome.
And I hope to see more from you soon, especially with Mr. Poppycock. Would you say maybe 2019 I might come out?
Yeah, that's the goal for that one is 2019.
All right. 2019, Mr. Poppycock. Looking forward to it.
All right. Sounds good.
And that will be it for this conversation with Alex Magaña. And I thank you for listening.